You're listening to the Fantasy Football Podcast with Charles Barr and John Chapman.
Here we go, man. Episode 16. By the way, 16 is my lucky number, so I feel really good about this podcast.
Well, there you go. We can just mark that under nobody really cares, and that's awesome.
My parents care. You need to know that.
And we know they're listening, so shout out to the Barr family. 16 is
All
an
of
important
them.
number, it turns out.
All of them. They're responsible for my entire Twitter following. Okay, so this week, John lost an epic bet, and this show is really turning more into John loses bets.
This is kind of what it is. And, that's okay, because Andrew Luck's already not playing this week, so I feel like I'm definitely losing that Matt Ryan versus Andrew Luck bet. But if you want to watch the most embarrassing 2 minutes of my life, I feel like there should be like a sex joke there, but that's okay. Go Google or follow us on YouTube. Or let me start back over. Go
Twitter.
Follow us on Twitter. But if not, just go to YouTube and type in Fantasy Football Poetry Slam. It's the first video that pulls up.
Right.
I have a scarf. It's wonderful. You need to watch it.
It is rough. I'm just going to say, as your friend, it was rough for me to watch. And I love you.
It took
okay?
a lot of beer to get to that point.
Totally.
And at one point, I walked out from my room where I was recording it, and my 9-year-old son goes, "Dad, why are you wearing a scarf?"
Yeah. Oh, no. Totally.
So that's great, basically, so great.
That's got to be the most turned off your wife has ever been. Okay.
I don't think so. Actually, I think the artsy side kind of triggered something, and so I'm just going to throw that out there.
Might have worked out. Okay, so great news this week in fantasy. The Giants receivers all received the bubonic plague.
Oh, my gosh. All four. Their top four. So you have all of their starters. That's right. Thank you, Dave Chappelle. All of their starters and their returner/backup receiver gone. Odell Beckham, out for the year, broken ankle. Brandon Marshall, out for the year, ankle. Sterling Shepard, week to week. When we say week to week, this is the same ankle injury that he had earlier in the year, right before in the preseason where he missed a little over 10 days. And so he's definitely going to miss this week. And then he'll probably miss the next week as well. Dwayne Harris, who was fourth in line, out for the year.
Jeez.
So the Giants are done and are now fighting at 0-5 for draft position to replace Eli Manning. That's basically what's happening.
It's gonna wreak havoc for fantasy production for the Giants all the way around. It's hard to trust anybody now in that offense. Ingram, maybe. Another guy who went out and we're a little bit sad about is my man Clay. Your man Clay.
I had Charles Clay in 5 leagues. I went and counted and cried every single time I counted his name. He was the number 5 tight end and he was 4 points behind Gronk. And he's out for a month, and it's his bye week, thankfully this week, which is good. But I don't want to hold on to a tight end for 4 to 5 weeks if he's not playing. It's just not who I want to do. So I am dropping him in all leagues, all formats, and I'm going with one of the Chargers tight ends, or believe it or not, the wonderful Ed Dickson, who absolutely 175 yards on 5 targets. Now, I don't think that Ed Dickson is going to be a permanent fantasy play, but with 5 targets, let's say he gets 3 catches. He's kind of a big play tight end, which there's not a lot of those. So you could see him getting 3 catches for 60 yards, and you usually got to be okay with that from the tight end position. So
absolutely. One of my not favorite players, and some people said in my college days, my doppelganger, Sam Bradford. It's not true.
Oh.
Yeah,
I see it a little bit, like on the Down syndrome side.
Totally. Yep. Extra chromosomes. Absolutely. But Sam Bradford.
I threw you off your game a little bit, didn't I?
It's okay. I just thought about what a Sam Bradford Down syndrome would look like.
Just look in the mirror.
Exactly. Oh, man. There's a special place in hell for you. Anyways,
I'm already there.
Yes, I know. The worst pocket presence I've ever seen in a QB. But what saved him was his awareness, and what saved him was his arm talent, which was insane. But he just got stepped on. People like blew kisses at him. People did anything. He just fall down. He didn't know how to stay up, but he may never see the field again.
I think he is finally done. He was brought in to replace Teddy Bridgewater, and if we look at this situation, there's already rumors coming out that Teddy Bridgewater may come off the pup next week.
Yes.
That's great. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean he's going to play. He may play before Andrew Luck, but it's still going to be a while. You're talking 2 to 3 weeks out minimum, but I don't think that you have to rush it because Case Keenum has been quite serviceable. He came in right before halftime. He threw for 140 yards and a touchdown. And if you put those numbers fantasy-wise, 280 yards and 2 touchdowns is just fine. Not to mention he's already had a 360-plus yard game for 3 touchdowns. So I think you just kind of keep rolling with Case Keenum till the bye week, which is week 9, and then maybe Teddy Bridgewater can come back. But I think that the odds of Sammy Biscuits being gone forever is here. Which the guy has made more money than any other player like that wasn't good at football ever. So I don't feel bad for him, but I think it's over.
Yeah, no, Sammy Biscuits. What a name.
I did not coin that. I heard it somewhere. It might have been. I don't know where I heard that. So if you said that before me, I heart you. I don't know who it is, but I've heard it several times and it just kind of stuck into my psyche.
Real quick, shout out to Case Keenum, ugliest girlfriend in the NFL.
Gosh,
okay,
do better. I'm sure she's nice, but
she's nice. But here's the thing: you're an NFL player.
Same.
Okay, if I was a punter, if I was a kicker, it doesn't matter. I would have a hotter girlfriend by a lot.
Yeah,
okay?
I hope she's not listening to this, and if she is, sorry, but
sorry, it's just the truth.
Yeah.
You outpunted your coverage, and good for you. We have a lesson to learn from you.
Hey, I appreciate that, man.
Totally. Okay, moving on. Satan injures his shoulder. Wait, Tom Brady. My bad.
I didn't know who you were talking about. And when you said Satan, I was like, Tom Brady in the injury section? Actually, yeah. So he hurt his shoulder. He kind of came down on it weird, but it's his non-throwing shoulder, and it's kind of a non-issue. He's going to be just fine.
Yeah, he's fine. He made a deal for his soul. He'll be all right. And with that deal came Gronk off of injury.
Yeah, and I just want to say I was not an advocate for starting Dwayne Allen. Now, we have a fantasy bet here on who would score more.
Oh, no.
Who would score more points, Dwayne Allen or Hunter Henry? And just so you know, the total right now, it's pretty close, actually. So if we look at – now, who do you want me to start with? I'll let you pick. Do you want me to go Hunter Henry or Dwayne Allen first?
You know what? Start with Dwayne Allen. Let's build up.
Okay, so let's look at Dwayne Allen. He has 0 points, 0 catches, 0 yards.
Me too.
So basically, you are tied. So if the bet was who's going to score more points, Charles Barr or Dwayne Allen, you're not losing.
Ugh. It's yeah. Okay, so out of all of the bets, John's got me on that one.
I do have you on that one. But Hunter Henry, he's got 2 touchdowns. He only has 12 catches, but he's the number 19 tight end right now. And I think that's going to start continuing to take an uptick. He's received a little bit more and a little bit more work every week. But having said that, like the guy, he doesn't need a lot of targets. He is touchdown dependent, but he's got the greatest quarterback in NFL history that throws the tight ends. So the Raiders this week, oh my goodness. Yeah, play them.
And I watched the Chargers play my Eagles, and I'll say the only issue with Hunter Henry is not that he's not getting looks in the red zone, it's predictably going to him. So teams are doubling down on this guy. So, yep. Speaking of my Eagles, one of our running backs, Smallwood, still not practicing. Probably not going to play this Thursday. What do you think?
Man, I don't think they will because it's a Thursday game. He didn't practice today. So what are you going to do? Usually Tuesday, Wednesday is kind of your walkthrough practice. If he does not practice tomorrow, it will be 100%. They might call it a game time decision, but he's not playing Thursday. There's no reason to rush him back when you had LeGarrette Blount, who actually looked really good. Like, how crazy is that? LeGarrette Blount looked good. And so if he's serviceable for that offense, which is predominantly pass heavy, you're going to be just fine.
You know what they did? They stopped running him out of shotgun as much.
You can't do that. You have to play to their strengths. And, man, the preseason just pissed me off. But hopefully, how did Corey Clement look? Like, I want to ask you, I know you watched every snap 5 times.
Yeah, they didn't really give him a ton of work. It was Kenyon Barner had some snaps. Actually, maybe as many snaps as Corey Clement. I still like Corey Clement, though. Yeah.
I gotcha. Especially in like deep dynasty leagues, I could totally see a spot there. But pick up Smallwood if he's available because he's going to be a feature back with reception, especially half-point PPR and full-point PPR. Like, go get that guy, but I don't think you're playing him this week.
Right. Derek Carr finally expected to be back.
Expected to be back, which is such good news. That team is bad. And they were bad last year. They had the worst defense, second to worst defense in the entire NFL. And they were carried because Derek Carr and that offensive line was just legit. And the receiving core was great. Everything was clicking. But if you take one thing out of that offense, it all falls down because that defense is terrible. I still don't see the Raiders making the playoffs, but he at least makes that team fantasy relevant. Everybody except Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is awful at football.
Yeah, he's bad. And that's another bet I'm going to lose. I had the Chiefs in last place. I don't want to talk about that.
That's weird. So, how many teams are in the NFL? I think I know, but maybe you could help me out. How many are there?
32.
There's 32. I think there's only one team that is undefeated so far out of those 32 teams. I don't remember which one that is.
The Chefs.
It's the Chefs, one of the greatest commercials of all time. If you're hungry, eat a Snickers. And if you pick the Chiefs to finish last place, you're ridiculous.
Yes. Whoops. Anyways, I'm ridiculous, I guess. And I have Down syndrome, but you learn things all the time.
Dang. Why do you got to hold on to these things? Just let them go, man. Just let them roll off the black.
5 minutes ago. Anyway, so Jordy Nelson said he's fine, but he hasn't looked fine all season to me. What's up?
Well, he looked good, and he keeps scoring touchdowns. The crazy thing is he's still leading the entire NFL in touchdowns receiving. He has 6 on the year. Nobody else has more than 5, and only Chris Hogan and DeAndre Hopkins have 5. So with Jordy, you just got to be happy, but he sat out most of the fourth quarter as a hamstring issue. He said he's fine, and the thing is he does not have to be full speed to be fantasy relevant.
That's what I'm saying. He hasn't looked full speed. I mean, I know he's got the touchdowns, but I think that's kind of automatic because he's a great route runner. But the physicality, the athleticism, I feel has been missing.
So I'll say this. I think you're right, but this week we saw kind of worst case scenario. So he didn't play very much. He didn't get a target until late in the second quarter, but he still finished with 2 catches, 24 yards, and a touchdown. So he's not going to cost you a game. He scored a touchdown in every game this week. And so you just got to kind of keep rolling with him. Hold on. He did not score a touchdown in week 2. He didn't even get a target that week. He didn't really play, so just keep that in mind.
Yikes.
But besides that, he's totally safe. Best quarterback in football. And Devontae Adams, holy freaking cow, man. I was lucky to get this guy in a lot of leagues. He's the number 9 receiver right now. And is just totally killing it. He's a guy you got to start, and I think he'll end the year again, back-to-back years, top 12 wide receiver.
And you know what? Sometimes people just don't let things go. Like my brother. Okay, I was wrong about Devontae Adams. I don't know how many times I have to say this to you. I was wrong about this. I was wrong about The Office. The American version is far superior to the English version. Can we just put this to bed? Because you've been wrong about way more stuff. Okay,
and I'll just say this. Shout out to Rich, your brother. He's definitely the cooler of the Barr brothers. And he's a loyal listener. Just want to say shout out, man. You always come through, brother.
Shout out to another loyal listener, Danny the Kingslayer. That's my dude. All right, Andrew Luck. I think I'm winning that bet, dude.
Yeah, the bet was the wonderful Matt Ryan or Andrew Luck will have more fantasy points. I wish I would have said fantasy points per game. Because I still think I don't think Matt Ryan's doing very well, to be honest with you. If you look, go ahead.
He's playing though.
That is correct. Matt Ryan is playing, but Andrew Luck is not. But Matt Ryan is currently quarterback number 26 in fantasy. He is behind Josh McCown, Blake Bortles, Trevor Siemian, Brian Hoyer. Jacoby Brissett has more points than Matt Ryan. So I feel like I was right about Matt Ryan. I was just wrong about Andrew Luck's injury.
However, you got to spin it for yourself.
It helps me sleep. It helps me sleep.
Bilal Powell out, and Forte still has turf toe. What a mess the Jets continue to be.
So we can say that, right? Like, okay, the Jets are absolutely terrible, but they're not playing that bad football. Like, they're actually winning football games. They are 3-2. They are tied with the New England Patriots for first place and the Buffalo Bills for first place in that division.
Who's been their competition? I know 1 week was the Browns.
No, hold on. You can't say that. Like, they have actually beat some decent teams. They beat the Bills, they beat the Raiders at Oakland and Miami, and they beat your Jacksonville Jaguars. Hold on, whoa, sorry. Pause the brakes. These are just teams they played. So they lost to the Bills and the Raiders, but they're on a 3-game win streak. They beat Miami, they won at Jacksonville, and they beat the Browns. Like, you got to give them credit for that.
Okay, so you beat the bottom 3 teams. I mean, and the Jags are going to be up and down. That defense isn't always going to be able to save them. Jay Cutler is an idiot, and that's all I got to say about that.
But here's what's great, okay? They play the New England Patriots. The Jets play the Patriots at home, so they're in New York for first place in the AFC East. How great is that this week?
That's awesome.
I love football.
And the Patriots are going to stomp their brains like Negan in friggin' Walking Dead. All right, next. Go ahead.
So hope the Jets win. I'm pulling for them more than any team this week.
Oh, absolutely. I hope that Tom Brady falls in a sinkhole and never returns. All right.
Now, hold on. Now, with Bilal Powell and possibly Forte out, Elijah McGuire, who I don't think is an NFL talent, is a must-start and add in all formats. He is going to run the ball and catch the ball a ton. The Patriots' defense is terrible, especially against running backs. So Elijah McGuire this week must start in all situations.
Mariota, a game-time decision.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to play personally, but it's a possibility how he responds. I'm really disappointed in Tennessee and how they started this year, but hey, we'll see what happens.
Julio, he's back, baby.
Dude, this is crazy. So there were reports out there that Julio was going to be out for a long time. He practiced today, and this is just who Julio Jones. That's very hard to say. Has
for
been.
You.
It's tough. Julio? Come on now.
Julio.
I don't have a stutter. But the idea is this. Julio Jones is going to miss time and get nicked up in games and sit out. He's always been this guy for the past 4 years straight. He gets hurt. He steps out. He goes in. He has a 300-yard game. Then he has a 5-yard game. So you just kind of you got to grunt your teeth. If you can sell high, great. Odds are you cannot. So you just got to kind of roll with them.
Gotcha. Last injury update for you folks out there. Devontae Parker.
Man, he got so damn lucky. He was seen on the sidelines with crutches before the game finished. And supposedly it's just a minor ankle issue. And it's going to be a game-time decision probably. So they're saying he's iffy, 50-50. But, man, not that I want to play Devontae Parker ever at any time, especially in this offense. But some people drafted him high and you're kind of stuck with them. But he is there.
Just really quickly, I'd take Sam Bradford over Jay Cutler, but that's just me.
Yeah, I think I would too.
Trade alert. And here's the thing, real quick. You and I called this a long time ago.
This was you more so than me. You said, is AP going to get traded? And I think you said it right after the Vikings injury to Dalvin Cook, didn't you?
I've been talking about it before that, but, I mean, we started talking about it in an episode. I think we really kind of talked about how I didn't think that AP was going to stay long-term with the Saints. Could be traded this year before the season even started. That was pre-week 1.
Okay, all right. Yeah, and hats off to you. So Adrian Peterson gets traded for a conditional 6th-round pick in the upcoming draft. As soon as they get him, they drop Chris Johnson, which is sad and funny because right after week 1 or 2, Chris Johnson tweets out, you got to get Adrian Peterson the ball more. Well, he's going to a situation where he's getting the ball more. Unfortunately, that cost you your job.
Yeah.
Now, I put AP, and I'm not an AP fan, and I don't think that he has much left in the tank, but I do believe in the system and the lack of competition that they have in Arizona. And so I think AP is a flex play to an RB2, meaning top 24, probably 13 to 24, low end, 15 to 24 for the rest of the season. I want Adrian Peterson now.
Gotcha.
And so go get this guy. I don't know this week is going to be the strong play, but try to get him off waivers if you can. He's owned in just over 40% of leagues. So go get him because he's going to have that option to play that David Johnson role. Very similar body style, not near as talented in his older age as he would have been back in the day, but he can catch the ball fairly adequately. So go get this guy because the Cardinals throw the ball to their running backs.
Yeah. We're going to get to the news section of our podcast, and here's what I want to do, John. I'm going to read just through a few headlines and then kind of pause and let you recap and hit on any notes that are important, all right?
Okay, let's go.
I'm going to do 3. So, Ross and Lacey will split carries moving forward, and Procise coming back after the bye.
If there was any reason to stay away from a backfield, it's this one. Like the Patriots suck because it's a guess, but usually one of the running backs will be successful and will be fantasy relevant. I don't think that's going to happen at all anymore for Seattle. Run and hide. Nobody. You don't want any of these guys.
Right. Funchess is legit. 9 targets.
Jesus.
Yes.
David Funchess, who again, do not believe in his talent whatsoever, but he has stepped 100% into the role that Greg Olsen kind of left whenever he got injured. So him and Egg Dixon, but Funchess is averaging 9 targets a game and has scored touchdowns, 3 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. Go get this guy. He is a must start for the rest of the year. That's just who he is.
Aaron Jones, now a timeshare at best in your opinion, but I'm going to actually disagree with this a little bit.
Okay.
That sickle cell dough. All right.
Note to self, when somebody says sickle cell in public, do not react the way we just did.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Can the title of this episode be That Sickle Cell Dough? Anyways.
I don't think so. That's like
no?
I don't think so.
No, okay. I actually have just seen a guy who appears to be injured kind of often and then gets back on the field. I don't know. I think he'll be back, and he's going to definitely take away the fantasy value from Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, everybody. But I could see him missing some more games this year.
Oh, totally. So Ty Montgomery was leading the entire NFL in snaps and touches before he got injured. As you said, he does have sickle cell trait, which makes injuries kind of last longer. Healing slows down, things like that. He had some broken ribs. Having said that, he was practicing last week, so he is coming back. I expect him to play this week. But the head coach came out and said, Aaron Jones, basically, he's going to get a bigger workload now, no matter what. Aaron Jones looked amazing. He looked great.
Awesome.
I lost 2 fantasy games because of him, because other people picked him up and started him over me. But that's okay. Jamal Williams, droppable in all formats. All formats. Get rid of him.
Bye. Kaiser out, Hogan in, whatever.
Yeah.
Sammy Watkins.
Jesus.
What? Where is this guy? MIA.
Man, 2 weeks in a row he has sucked after his gigantic performance. And the thing is, Jared Goff, the way that they read their offense is half field, and the primary read is away from Sammy Watkins every time. The opposing defense sticks their best corner on Sammy Watkins, and then they basically look away from him. So we'll see. The head coach came out this week and said, hey, we're going to get him some more looks. We're going to kind of get him more involved. But again, man, what does that look like? There's still, I don't know. It makes me so sad.
Right. Jared Goff not completely sold on the guy yet, and that's controversial.
Dude,
but I don't even care.
How can you say that, though? The guy, they're still leading the NFL in most points scored.
Okay.
Like, you've got to give him some credit for what
No,
he's done.
listen, he has made steps forward. The game that I just watched him play recently, I think in just one series, I watched him throw 2 balls that should have been picked. I don't like the way that he reacts to pressure. That's one of the problems I have with Jared Goff.
I gotcha. Now, I will say this, back to Sammy Watkins, his next 2 matchups at the Jaguars, which means he's going to get one of the best corners in the game, right? And then he's at the Cardinals, and he's going to get the best corner in the game, and Patrick Peterson. So you got Patrick Peterson and Jalen Ramsey in both weeks who follow the receiver. And I'm telling you right now, I wish I could say buy low on Sammy, but I don't think that you can against either one of those 2 corners.
Right.
After the bye week, his bye week in week 8, then I'm fine getting him, but it's basically left for dead at this point.
Another guy who's been a disappointment also is Alshon Jeffries, where I'm just letting you know, I'm an Eagles fan. What's happening is he is being doubled every play, and Ertz and everybody else is benefiting from the attention that he draws. And I think that Wentz is still discovering how to use him. I think after their bye, which is pretty far off, I think you could look to see Alshon doing a lot better like Sammy.
Yeah.
Latavius Murray, everybody got hot on him.
Nope,
Not me.
not
me.
I didn't.
We told you.
I said he's going to get the bulk of the carries, but McKinnon's going to be there too. And sure enough, Derrick McKinnon, Derrick McKinnon's playing some football. Like, he looked awesome. The problem with Derrick McKinnon has never been his talent. It's 100% been, does he get the volume? And if he gets the volume, he's going to be successful. He had 16 carries for 95 yards and a touchdown. But way more important than that, 6 targets, 6 catches, 51 yards. And this is a check down offense. So, you've got to go get McKinnon. You got to get him.
What is up with your boy, though, Carlos Hyde? Why is he losing carries?
So, he had a rough game. He didn't look bad. It was kind of rough. The problem was Matt Breida was looking awesome. They do have different running styles. Hyde's more of a bruiser, kind of physical guy, and Breida is just 100% small through the gap, north-south runner. He doesn't make any moves or try to barrel over anybody. He just darts through a small hole for 5 yards. And so Shanahan said he's going with the hot hand, and there was a full quarter from the right after the first series of the third quarter to the fourth quarter. Hyde didn't see the field. He dropped a pitch, and that was it for him. And he said moving forward, Hyde's our starter, and he's our feature guy, but we will ride the hot hand. So Matt Breida may get some more carries. But Shanahan's done this. He uses this as a motivational tactic. He did it in Atlanta, so we'll see what happens.
Gotcha. All right, now to the section you've all been waiting for. And we're not going to, actually, this week there's not going to be like a ton of whoa. But we're going to get to waiver claims. First up, there's a surprise on waiver claims right now. I think you'd be surprised to know what percentage that Adrian Peterson is owned in leagues. John, give us the update.
He's 40%. You got to get him if he's available. He's the number 1 waiver claim this week, period. Number 2, Derrick McKinnon at running back. And number 3, Aaron Jones. For some reason, all of these guys are 40% or less owned. You got to go get them at running back. Wide receiver, you got Devin Funchess, who we talked about, and Will Fuller, who I hate, and I don't really want him on my fantasy team. He had 3 targets, but he scored 2 touchdowns. So, he scored 2 touchdowns in 2 games in a row. So as long as, we've got Deshaun Watson doing his thing, you got to play Will Fuller. He's the number 2 receiver and on the field all the time. Tight end, Kittle for San Francisco he's a must-add. If you had Clay, just put in Kittle. Unless one of the Chargers tight ends is available, I would prefer Hunter Henry over Antonio Gates, but if not, go get Kittle.
If Fuller ever had a decent corner matched up on him, which he rarely does because of Hopkins, he's a non-play to me. But he does the most with the targets that he gets, and that makes him a solid, not a solid, that makes him a play.
Right, and I will say this too, as I'm looking at the data right now, quarterbacks who are not owned, like Carson Palmer, he's owned in right at 50% of leagues, but he needs to be owned in all formats. He is, let's see where he's at as far as passing goes. He's second in the NFL in passing behind only Tom Brady. So, like, go get this guy. Yeah, the touchdowns haven't been there, and he had a couple interceptions in that very first game. But he has been so fantasy relevant since then. So, 20 points, 20 points, 20 points, 18 points in his last 4 weeks. And he's got the Bucks this week that give up the 31 most yards to passing. So, go get this guy. Like, get this guy.
And they lost Levante David. I mean, that defense is only going to get worse from there.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
It's time for Game of the Week. All right?
All right. Which game did you pick?
I picked this was my pick, and I'll be perfectly honest with you. There's not a lot of great pickings out there this week. Let's just be perfectly honest. We really went through and studied. I was like, but there was just an interesting one, I think, because each week I kind of feel like we learn more about these teams, but sometimes matchups expose more and give you more about what a team's going to do in the future. I think that the Rams at the Jaguars is going to give us a lot more information about both of these teams.
From an NFL and a fantasy perspective, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so a couple things real quick. Just as you say that, like, some things stand out to me. One, Jared Goff, I do not expect to have a great fantasy game or really NFL game this week because the Jags are so good at defense, especially against the pass. We saw what they did to Ben Roethlisberger, 5 interceptions, worse than his entire career. But what the Jags are not good at is defending the run. So we're going to see just how good Todd Gurley is. Todd Gurley's the number 2 overall fantasy running back in the entire NFL right now through 5 weeks. I could see Todd Gurley balling out. On the flip side, very, very similar. Yeah. Fournette is legit. Like, how legit is Fournette? Well, he's number 3 overall in fantasy right now.
Woo!
Who would have guessed that? I guess a couple people. But the idea is this. The Rams suck against the run as well. I don't know. I haven't finished all my projections, but I would be willing to say that there's a strong possibility Leonard Fournette and Gurley could be number 1 and 2 in fantasy this week for running backs. Now, Blake Bortles is almost a non-start in every single format completely. I don't care. Stay the hell away from Blake Bortles this week.
I've got something to say about that.
Dude, what is it with you and Blake Bortles? Like, I don't understand. Why the hell do you love this guy so much?
I don't know, man. Just something about his swagger. I can't really figure it out.
Let me tell you about his swagger real quick. Okay. And if you watch the Poetry Slam, I talked about this a little bit. God, that's the gayest statement I've ever heard. That's nothing against homosexual people. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that statement is just awful. Okay, gay's not bad, but that statement was bad. But here's the deal. All right. Antonio Brown had more targets than Blake Bortles threw passes last week. Blake Bortles was 8 for 14 for 95 yards and an interception.
All right, then
no
I got
touchdowns.
you. You ready? Here's the bet. I got a bet.
Oh, so anytime Charles says this, it usually goes bad for me. But let's play a game.
Let's play a game. All right, so I will take Blake Bortles to have more fantasy points than the number 1 QB in fantasy points, Alex Smith.
Whoa. So,
I think Blake Bortles will have more fantasy points than Alex Smith, okay? So if
on the season?
No. In this week. In their matchups this week.
Okay. Who does Alex Smith have, Charles?
Well, hold on. What does it matter? I think it's Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh at the Chiefs.
Okay. So you're saying Alex. Whoa. Okay, so you're taking Blake Bortles?
Yeah, I'm taking Blake Bortles to have more fantasy points than Alex Smith against Pittsburgh.
This week?
Let's put your money where your mouth is.
Okay,
son.
Yeah, I'll take the bet.
Okay.
So what do you want to bet? I'm totally down. I'm typing this biz out.
I want to, keep it where it's been. Like this Poetry Slam, nothing's going to beat that. But here's what I think we do. Okay. So you have to go on YouTube Live and you have to do a sort of like a one-act play of The Notebook, and you've got to play both characters, and you've got to be fully serious with emotion and everything and put that on Twitter, whoever the loser is.
Now, real quick, I just want to say a couple things.
Okay.
You have come up with a couple bets. I feel like all of my bets have to do with scotch, steaks, pizza. Your bets have had to do with the Bachelorette, Poetry Slam, and now the Notebook.
Pattern.
Okay, so real quick, let me just restate these terms and make sure that they're okay.
Okay.
I am saying Alex Smith will outscore Blake Bortles in week 6, and you're taking Blake Bortles, and the loser has to do a scene from the Notebook?
Yes.
All right, man. Bet on. If I lose this week, I know the fantasy gods are against me. I know God hates me, but it will be living proof. Oh, my God. Yeah, let's do this, man. I'm down. Oh, my God.
Dude. Oh, my God. I said the Notebook. What I meant to say was Brokeback Mountain. And now I'm not kidding.
Let's stay with the Notebook.
No, man. Step your game up, bro. Step your game up,
so
man. I can't quit you.
So you want to do Brokeback Mountain?
I do. I want to take it there.
Okay.
I want to go Brokeback Mountain so bad.
All right, man. Long live. This is like your 5th bet involving Blake Bortles and
Brokeback Mountain.
It's funny. I typed in Broken Mountain, which I think might be the sequel.
Oh. No, there's no sequel. They both died.
No, Gyllenhaal's not dead.
No, in the movie.
Oh,
Anyways.
I haven't seen it. Sorry.
You haven't watched that 500 times like me?
No,
okay,
I heart you, man. But no, not like that.
Oh, man. All right.
We're never going camping, just so you know.
Yeah. No, we're not.
Oh.
Okay, so kind of back to the bet is a scene from Brokeback Mountain to be, you know what, that might not be completely politically correct. People might not like that. So what if we just did stick with the Notebook? Okay.
Okay, I'll change it again.
I don't know. I think people would be like, we're making fun or something. We're not. We're trying to have a good time, but we'll do the Notebook.
Yeah.
But let's just talk about really quick the Jags for a second. I think that Alan Hearns, I think he has himself a week against this weaker defense, and I think Blake Bortles has a good week. And I think that because, and I'm just going to give a prediction, I think that because of what Leonard Fournette will do actually in the passing game as well, I like him to come out in the passing game a little bit this week.
Hey, man, and I think that he is, if you didn't watch the play where he waved on the guy, oh, it was awesome. He gets the ball out in the perimeter. He runs the ball. He breaks the first wave, and there's a corner coming up to hit him. And Leonard Fournette literally waves on, come hit me, like with this attitude, like come at me, bro. And it was just so great. It was so wonderful.
And the guy popped up like he was hard, like he did it, and it's like, no, buddy, you got laid out.
Yeah, Leonard Fournette's a man. He just is. But if you look at what the Rams defense does is they stop receivers and they allow the run. So, Doug Baldwin, for instance, the number 1 wide receiver last week, 8 targets, 4 catches, 37 yards. So we'll see. I do not believe in the Jaguars, but you do. Their defense is legit. I agree with that, but their offense is awful outside of their running game. So I don't think anything great's going to happen there.
I want to throw one more thing at you.
I don't know. Okay, let's do it.
About the Jags is the fact that, you mentioned that data earlier, but they've been injured and they just got a few guys back, and I believe that they're getting somebody else back this week. I like them to just keep improving on the defensive side of the ball. Barry Church, they're solidifying that secondary, allowing Jalen Ramsey to own Antonio Brown. I'm telling you, man, this team, that defense is going to put them in scoring positions.
I don't know if I want to say that he owned him. He definitely got the better of him, but still, if you look at Antonio Brown's stats, I mean, the guy freaking was awesome. He had 19 targets, 10 catches, 157 yards. I mean,
he owned him. No.
I love that you stay with your stance. 10 catches, 157 yards. Sit down. I owned you.
I mean, He had 5 picks all by himself. Just kidding.
Awesome.
Well, man, we've got an awesome bet coming up. So everybody stay tuned. This has been episode 16.
Yeah.
John is sweating, folks. He's already sweating.
If
I'm
you
telling
you got to go watch the Poetry Slam for last week and just kind of see what we're about. If you haven't done it yet, go do it. Poetry Slam, Fantasy Football, and YouTube. Leave a comment and tell me how ridiculous I am. But thanks a lot, guys, and we will catch you next week.
Peace.